Right, welcome back to the PWC channel. Today I'm here with our coach of the week for week 1, which is Scary Monsters Overheaven from the Sinnoh League. And Scary Monsters Overheaven has an interesting history in our league. He premiered last season in our what was then called Minors League, which was his first ever draft league, and he started off a little bit struggling. I think he lost his first couple of matches, but then towards the end of the season, he was a really strong force to be reckoned with. He improved steadily over the months and, yeah, finished the season quite strong already. But his breakout performance was in our preseason speed tournament this season, where he got sent to losers bracket in round 1, but then he clawed his way through the entire loser side of things and made it to the grand finals, where he got revenge for his round 1 loss on our Hoenn League representative Gil, and he won our speed tournament. And that's also the main reason why we decided to make him coach of the week. And then he went on to win his week 1 match in this new season as well, so definitely a successful string lately. And hello, Scary Monsters, congratulations.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We just did this like 20 minutes ago already, and I lost the recording because I'm a complete fool, and now we have to do this again, but we will struggle through it somehow. All right, so first thing I want to ask you of you is your username is really interesting, Scary Monsters Overheaven. What's the story behind that name?
Yeah, so the username, it's a reference to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where so in JoJo's there's a character named Dio, and in the show everyone has these special superpowers called stands, and Dio's stand is called the world. And in one of the later parts of JoJo, there's a character he's not Dio, but he's like a different version of Dio. And his stand is called Scary Monsters. And in one of the video games, Dio has like an evolved super stand called the World Over Heaven. So the Scary Monsters Over Heaven is just sticking that on the end of Scary Monsters instead.
All right, so that's definitely one of the more interesting name, and I think that's also the longest name we have ever had in our PWC history, and definitely sometimes a little bit tough to fit into our doc formatting, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. And your profile pic on Discord is also really interesting to me. I always had the connection myself that this is a little boy who's scared of scary monsters that are over heaven, and this is just the little boy you are talking about in your username is crying and somewhat looking towards the heaven, but that's not it, right?
No, this is a character from Hunter x Hunter. His name is Beans. He is another character, like one of the characters who's like this big important person at the head of a company. Beans is like his assistant, his PA, and he's very small and his head is a jelly bean, and it's never really explained.
All right, I like the head as a jelly bean, and yeah, it's definitely a cute profile pic for sure. Okay, so I also have some questions about your draft league and competitive quote unquote career so far. And I want to start by asking you, when did you start with competitive play in general?
Uh, yeah, in general, I started playing competitive Pokemon in around sort of just before Heart Gold Soul Silver came out. I played on Shoddy Battle, and I played on Shoddy Battle for a long time, even when PO was a thing. And I eventually moved over to PO when Gen 5 came out because they didn't put the Gen 5 Pokemon on Shoddy, although they might have done later, but they didn't initially. Um, and then I played it on PO for probably a little over a year, like from when till just a little bit after Black and White 2 came out. Uh, and then I didn't really play much competitive Pokemon for a while. And then at one point, I just wanted to jump into a game with one of my friends I was talking to, and so we went on Showdown, and it was Oras by this point, and so we played a little bit of Oras, and then I just kept playing. And I actually went and installed PO at that point after having played a little bit on Showdown, and was like, I thought, Showdown was fine to jump into a quick game, but I wanted to play on PO if I could play because that's what I was used to. And then very quickly I was like, actually no, I'm just going to keep playing on Showdown. And so then I played a ton of ORAS OU on Showdown. And then I played also quite a lot of Sun and Moon. Less so Ultra Sun and Moon, but still a bit. And I haven't really played much like Gen 8 ladder. But through my time, like I mostly played OU over all of these years, but I have tried a lot of like other formats, all like Smogon ladder stuff, but like various tiers. But usually OU has been my, and there have been times where I've been really into a specific tier. Like I played a lot of Gen 7 Little Cup at one point, but like I've always gone back to OU.
All right. So that sounds like you started really, really young then. So if you started like Gen 4, do you remember at what
Yeah,
age that was?
probably around like 10 or 11.
Oh wow, that's also really young. All right. And in all these years playing on the ladder and playing mostly OU, do you have any story that you remember? What was your highest placement, or did you play anyone famous along the way?
Um, do I have anything like that? Uh, not not really that I can think of. I do know that at one point on Showdown, even though mostly play singles, my highest rated like tier was VGC 2017, which I had played a little bit of for like a month or so. Um, but I don't. Yeah, no, I don't really have any especially interesting things along that line. I think.
All right, okay. And then at some point you made the transition into draft leagues. And how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so the this league is the first that I've ever played in, but I'd always been like interested in draft because I watched a lot of draft content, and I always thought it was a really cool way to play Pokemon singles. And I mean, I guess doubles also, but singles is more my thing. And so I think at one point after I'd been talking to my friends about it for a while, I just thought there's no way that I'm gonna ever be in because I like the idea of maybe being in a league with my friends, but there aren't that many of my friends that play Pokemon, not enough for a league, and so I just thought I'll just look it up and see what I can find online and join something. And so after a bit of googling, I found some Discord servers that had like lots that where people advertised lots of different leagues, and I think there was a recent post at that point where someone was advertising this league, so I just clicked on it and saw if I could join, and there I was.
All right, and that's how you came into our league. And you played the last season in our mid-tier division, which is really cool. You didn't do so well at the beginning, but came back strong towards the end. Were you satisfied with your results in this first season?
Um, Overall, I suppose so. I don't really mind the record exactly. Like, I'm in the end, it just is what it is. But yeah, there were definitely specific matches where I really felt unsatisfied losing and wished I'd won. Not for like RNG reasons or anything, just because it was like there were games where it's like I really choked that, or just I was totally unready for things that I really obviously should have been ready for. Um, but I mean, I guess just got to keep looking forward and try to do better next time.
Yeah. And did you experience a steep learning curve then? Was it very different to play draft from what you are used to in OU and other tiers?
Um, Honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like, I mean, that's what you think because I lost my first few matches, but I don't really think that was the issue. I mean, I definitely my mindset changed a bit over the season, and that helped. But I think for the most part, like most of what has given me whatever success I have found in draft has been stuff carried over of just like general, Pokemon stuff. Because even the team building, which is like obviously different in draft, it's not the sort of approach to team building isn't that different. Because even when you're building for like say ladder or like say OU, you know in a broader sense what you need to prepare for, and you're still trying to prepare. It's just not as specific.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. All right, and then you, as I said, were pretty strong towards the end of the season, and then you won our preseason speed tournament. So what was that like for you? You came well put to losers round one, but then you came back really strong.
Yeah, that was the speed tournament was really fun. I really liked the team I was using. It was a lot of fun, and I think it's sort of interesting. Like I got knocked down to losers round one, which sucked, but in the end, it just meant I got to play more, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I definitely after losing round one I was it really like dedicated the idea of man, I don't want to go 0-2. I just want to win my next match, and then I wanted to win my next match again after that. From there, it was kind of I didn't really mind. Like I thought I'd done fine, so I was perfectly prepared for the idea of losing, but I just kept winning and then won. Um, the week one match in particular, I remember that match because I honestly kind of choked it. Like I could have won that match for sure. There was a
Hmm.
point when I just did the wrong thing, and even from the point where I did the wrong thing, I could have still won the game from there. Like it came down to a 50-50. And when we discussed it afterwards, I had picked right on the 50-50, but I got crit and died anyway.
Yeah. That was a really close match. We have that on our YouTube channel just to plug that on the side. Yeah, that was definitely cool. And that result really put you on the radar a little bit. Also for this next season, which has now started with week one. And yeah, so what are your goals for this season then, after doing so well in the speed tournament?
Yeah, I don't want to be too specific in terms of goals. Like my goal really is just to do as well as I can and see whatever that ends up being. But I was fairly close to making playoffs last season, and I felt like I kind of choked it away. So at the very least, I feel like as like a level goal, I wanna make playoffs. Um, but like I said, I don't want to be too specific. I just want to do it as well as I can.
Right, that's definitely going to be exciting to see how that works out. And when looking at your opponents for this season, especially when keeping in mind that you want to make playoffs, do you have any opponents or teams in mind that you find to be very scary for you?
Um, Honestly, looking at all the teams in the division that I'm in, they're all kind of scary in different ways. Like none of them jump out as not scary. In terms of, I don't know if any of them jump out as more scary than the others. I definitely Brad not so much because of the team, but just because I'm aware that he's been winning lately is scary. But in terms of lineup, they all look fairly threatening, and I haven't looked too closely at the matchup specifically for anyone except the person I've already played to feel like it's a good or bad matchup or anything. Um,
All right. And your next match is the one that we were talking about. Brett, did you already have a look at this matchup? Did you prep for that already? And what do you
I have
think?
not prepped for it yet. I have some ideas as to what I want to bring and not bring, but I haven't gone too specific yet.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna be an interesting one. That should be our match to watch for week two. Some of the rising stars of our Sinnoh League matching facing off in week two. That's gonna be interesting. All right, so that's pretty much it about Draft League and Pokemon stuff. I think now I want to go into not so much the competitive side of things, but the general Pokemon interest that you have. So how did that start for you, and when did that happen?
Yeah, I've pretty much always been into Pokemon as long as I can remember. Because I was I was born around roughly the same sort of time that Pokemon was coming out in English. Um, and so my brother, who's a few years older than me, he was really into Pokemon as I was growing up. And then also, not so much as I got older, but when I was really, really young, like a toddler, my mum was pretty aware of and pushing Pokemon because when I was a baby, I had terrible colic and I was constantly crying and I was so annoying and I was keeping everyone up. Um, and so, because my brother was into it at the time, my mum also got into Pokemon just sort of to pass the time, and she really liked it. She didn't. sort of continue with it as I grew up. But when I was very young, it was something that I could relate to her on. Um, and yeah, so really, I've just always been around Pokemon and been playing it for as long as I've been able to.
Okay. And over all these years, which one of the games stuck out as or stood out as your favorite?
I think my personal favorite is honestly, if I'm being really specific, my personal favorite is Ruby, and I can't even particularly like Emerald is just a better game, but I don't know. Ruby was the one that I played the most when I was young. Uh, I think I also really appreciate Heart Gold, Soul Silver in a more like qualitative way, less personal. But Ruby is like, or Ruby Sapphire Emerald in general, but Ruby specifically is like the personal one for me.
Yeah, I can totally relate because it's absolutely the same for me. It was also those were also my first games, the Gen 3 games, and yeah, you just have an emotional connection to them that stays with you. And yeah, so I can
Yeah.
definitely relate. All right, so I will have to think. Did I miss anything? Forget anything? Do you have any more questions that you want me to ask?
Uh,
or
I
any?
think one thing we talked about in the previous recording that we haven't is my own team for this season.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that. Yes, exactly. So SMO has drafted a sand team, and yeah, I would just want to ask how, or wanted to ask how you like your team this season.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about my team. Um, and there's definitely I think there's the potential that like I think there's holes in it, not in like a typing sense because I think like I've got solid cores, um, and my specifically my like type cores like triangles are geared towards my higher tier Pokemon, which is something I like because I felt like if you have say a really good fire type and a really good grass type, and then you've got like a water type, but it's one of your really weak Pokemon. It sort of feels like you want to have these Pokemon play together, but they don't support each other in equal weight, and that can sort of get you pushed over. But like part of the problem with my team is like I have a lot of threats, I think, but not a great way to get things in or like super great defensive switch ins. I mean, some of my Pokemon are better defensive switch ins than they look like. Like Gyarados is actually super bulky and has Intimidate, but like you also want to do offensive things with it. Um, I think there's definitely room to improve my team. But and I did have ideas for how to do that, but I decided I would wait and I want to just run my team as is for now. And if I ever feel like I need to make trades, I will.
Okay, that's definitely gonna be interesting to see. Yeah, we ranked your teams as I said in the previous recording as well. We ranked your teams already for the power rankings, and we did not. We saw a lot of holes in your team, as you said on the defensive side. And yeah, we'll definitely see. Maybe we are wrong, but it's gonna be interesting to see how you make it work. And I definitely can't wait to find out if you can keep your hot streak going in this season. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Sorry again that you had to go through this twice. I hope it wasn't too much trouble for you. And yeah, with that being said, I wish you a great season.
Thank you.
And
The best.
yes, all the best to you as well. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.